OK, just bear with me on this for a moment. Mr. Blobby, two little boys, I love sausage rolls, and there's no one quite like Grandma. Being number one at Christmas is not always a measure of quality, but that is the prize that has come Arsenal's way today. They will be the star on top of the tree. It's still probably a bit early for some of you to be thinking about Christmas, but this is Arsenal's last game before he comes down the chimney, and Mikel Arteta will be this year's lad baby. 10 of the last 13 Christmas number ones have gone on to win the Premier League title. That is the good news for Arsenal fans. The bad news is that the three teams that have come out of the Yuletide pack to overtake the Christmas leaders are Manchester City and Manchester City. In 2014, 2019, 2021, it was City who found enough New Year's resolution to come from behind to win the race, and Arsenal don't need telling that they are still lurking once more. Well, this time next Saturday night I'll be tucked up in bed in Doha. Talksport's blanket coverage of the 2022 World Cup finals begins in earnest in commentary next Sunday evening with the opening game between Qatar and Ecuador, kick-off 7 o'clock our time. But before that, the Bush Tucker trial of remaining fit and well enough. The last club commitments before the finals. By my reckoning, 11 of tonight's starters have been selected for World Cup squads. And Chris Iwaluma, I just wonder if in the back of their minds, staying in one piece is a factor in this game.
Of course, Clive, it's always going to play a part. You know, I think it's hard when obviously the World Cup is right there. You've got a game, one last game that you're just making sure that you're going to get through that.
One of England's hopefuls, Bukayo Saka, is on the ball for Arsenal. Exchanging passes with another, Ben White. Midway through the Wolverhampton half of the field, and I have to say, even in this opening minute, the pattern for the night has been set. It's going to be attack versus defence.
Yeah, that's it, straight away. You look at Guedes and Adama Traore, straight away they've dropped so deep in the middle of their own half, and they're just allowing Arsenal to have it, which I'm disappointed about. You know, play high, you know, try and keep that defensive line, albeit a 5, and you've got your 3 in there to protect that back 5. But like you say, from going from back to front, when you do get possession of the ball, when you do win possession, it's that transition. You've got to have options, you've got to have an outlet. Adama Traore and Guedes would be fantastic playing in behind.
Well, talking of the World Cup, Granit Xhaka is in trouble already here. Not trouble of a disciplinary nature. He just looks as if he's unwell to me. He's gone down his haunches. His hands went down to his knees, and it doesn't look as if he's quite with it. I don't think he was concussed in any way in the opening exchanges, which were actually played at a safe distance from everybody. Arsenal had the ball, Wolves backed off into their 5-3-2. Suddenly the ball was played out over the touchline because Xhaka was in need of some kind of attention. Doesn't look injured, does he?
No, he doesn't. He's gestured into his stomach, to the physio. So I think you've called that one right, Clive. You know, I think maybe a little bit unwell, and like you say, many a time you've been in a dressing room, you walk out, some players are not feeling 100%, they try and get on with the game, and they find out very quickly that it's not possible. So,
well, he will be the captain of Switzerland in Qatar. He's 30 now. He's the oldest player in this team. Thomas Partey's 29, the rest are 25 or younger. There's a huddle of 10 Arsenal players in deep conversation with Mikel Arteta on the touchline, whilst about 40 metres away, Xhaka, who hasn't sat down or laid down, he's still on his haunches, is being attended by 2 of the Arsenal medical staff. He's taken a couple of gulps of water, but Mikel Arteta is already signalling to, I think, Mohamed El Neni to get stripped and come on. Xhaka has now started to walk away to the far touchline. He just looks shaken up. He looks as if he's taken a blow to the head, but he hasn't. He's clearly just feeling under the weather. But it came upon him within 60-70 seconds of the first whistle here. So Xhaka walks down the touchline and looks a little bit more lively now. Play restarts with Wolves turning the ball to Arsenal, who kicked it out of play, and we can start all over again with the bowl out from Aaron Ramsdale. But let's talk about the football, because that's what's in action. And just to reiterate the point, that back three we talked about is a back five and some. It's 5-3-2 at best, Wolves.
Yeah, definitely. No, which I can understand if you're 15-20 minutes into the game and you're getting pushed back all the time, and Arsenal are winning possession and got good possession of the ball, but just straight away just to go without even contesting anything and dropping into that. Very disappointed, Clive.
And there was such a good vibe around the place in the build-up to kick off when Julen, I should say, Lopetegui walked around and applauded the fans, who all stood to a man and a woman and welcomed him to the Black Country. And he just thought there might be an opportunity for Wolves, bottom of the league, to have a free shot at Arsenal, top of the league tonight, but it doesn't look as if it's going to be that way. Arsenal coming forward with Saka, on by Xhaka, who has managed to recover and is getting on with the game. Ødegaard squares it to Zinchenko midway through the Wolves half of the field. We're live on Talksport, and it's goalless at Molineux. Martinelli now in an attacking position for Arsenal, being forced back by Semedo, crossed in towards Gabriel Jesus, who scores. Flags up, won't count. He did look offside. He is having a wonderful Arsenal career, except he's gone 10 appearances without scoring. Was he offside here? Yeah.
Yes, he was. You know, and it was just stepping up, wasn't it? Just lazy striker play from Jesus there. You know, if he's looking right across the line, there's no awareness that he's there behind him. Just step back a couple of yards onside, and the ball was excellent. The touch was even better, and the finish was outstanding. But again, just be switched on when in possession of the ball there with Arsenal.
Yeah, it wasn't the finish of a man who's gone 10 games without scoring. Arsenal have won the ball with Saliba, 20 metres inside the Wolves half of the field. Forward by Xhaka, who looks as if he's going to soldier on. Martinelli couldn't retain possession. Adama Traore's got a chance to counter and will run with the ball in a typical solo run, but he was absolutely surrounded by red and white shirts. Maybe 4 onto 1, and they eventually ran him off it.
Well, that's a job for Traore tonight. You know, I think him and Guedes, whenever they get the ball, they've got to be direct. They've got to try and make the ball stick and allow Wolves to get up and support. It's going to be very difficult, but like you say, they do have, especially Traore, that ability to run 4 or 5 players and get success.
No Premier League team is in worse form than Wolves. No Premier League team has made a better start to the season than Arsenal. It's a mismatch on paper, but the game is being played on grass and in front of a very partisan crowd who cheer as Semedo comes forward and squares it, and it might reach Guedes, and Saliba clashes with him. Traore tries to pick up the loose bits. Gabriel makes a challenge. The flag is up, which is just as well, I think, for Arsenal, because otherwise I think VAR might have been having a look at the coming together.
Well, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, he's just offside. He didn't have to go on with him. Yeah, just, well, he can score with the head, but if it's not offside, you're spot on there. I think VAR look at that and would give a penalty, but Guedes is just offside. He's just trying to he's bending forward, making sure that Semedo sees the pass.
Saliba just bundled Guedes to the floor, but belatedly and correctly. That's how assistant referees are instructed to behave, and we do have a World Cup finalist inside Molineux tonight. Darren Cann, the man with the flag on the far side, has officiated in the World Cup final, and his flag was correct. Saka running at Bueno on the Arsenal right and getting past him and into the dead ball line. Checks, comes inside onto his favourite left foot, crossed in towards the head of Gabriel Jesus. Collins got a touch as far as Zinchenko tried to half volley it back into the penalty area, got underneath it. It was a high loopy one which Jose Sarr was able to collect, but we did get a glimpse of what Wolverhampton Wanderers may be able to do on the counter-attack there.
Yeah, it's so important in that transition, Clive, that they do get their head up, they try and play and keep possession of the ball. You know, I think we all know that when Arsenal are out of possession, they react. 3, 4, 5 players go and try and win that ball in that first 3-4 seconds, put that pressure, force the error, but you just have to be composed, be brave enough and have that confidence in your own ability there.
But it's coming forward again for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Played back to Semedo and all the way back to the halfway line to one of the three centre-backs, Collins. In the middle of that back three is Max Kilman with Totti Gomez to his left. You're listening to Wolves 0, Arsenal 0 on Talksport with Now Sports. With Now Sports you can stream all the Sky Sports action, including this game, live right now for $11.99, no contract. Search Now Sports. Alongside Clive Tilsley at Moroni tonight, Chris Iwaluma.
Yeah, again, I think Hugo Bueno, straight away, he's the guy of Saka, he's in his space all the time. Saka got a little bit fortunate. I thought it was good defending, watching the ball all the time. He has to be switched on. He is an outlet, you know, with the kind of the distribution of Neves. He has that pass, doesn't he? He can release Nelson Semedo and Hugo Bueno at any moment when he gets that time in the centre of the park.
White out to Saka, 20 metres inside the Wolverhampton Wanderers half of the field. Heels on the touchline, trying to stretch this extensive Wolf cover, and Arsenal shuffle the ball back across their back four, where an inaccurate ball forward by Gabriel is cut out, but Zinchenko prevents a counter-attack, and Wolves will have a throw-in just inside their own half of the field. It's their third home game in a week. They were a little unlucky to lose to a late Brighton goal here on Bonfire Night. Their sixth defeat in 8 Premier League games. On Wednesday they reached the last 16 of the Carabao Cup with a late goal of their own against Leeds. Their fourth win only of a troubled season, all of those here at Molineux for 2 different managers, with a third now watching on. Bueno with a header forward for Wolves from midway inside his own half, seized upon by Thomas Partey, trying to get Saka in behind Totti, who had none of it. Partey heads forward towards Gabriel Jesus this time. He's spun away from Kilman, but good cover from Totti Gomez, who was selected in Steve Davis's first 2 games in charge, but has been out with an injury since then. He's spent most of his 1 year here at Molineux on the bench.
Well, he has, you know, I think very raw. You know, he's got all the right attributes, and I think, you know, they potentially can be an excellent player. But just there, you know, Jesus, great strength. Maximilian Kilman, the ball can't bounce. I know he's got his body in there, but then Totti comes around and covers with Jesus. But again, the ball just got away. But excellent striking play for
Totti.
Jesus there.
Totti to Bueno, just inside the Arsenal half of the field. Saka trying to halt his progress, but Bueno's got past him and gone round White and found a cross. The cross was cut out by Saliba. Cross wasn't quite as good as the exciting run from Hugo Bueno, who has started the last 5 Premier League games now. He got his chance at Crystal Palace 4 weeks ago when Ryan Aït-Nouri fell ill just before the game, and he's really taken that chance since then.
No, he has. He's taken that opportunity. Excellent bit of skill there, individual quality from him. He got away, got himself into the left wing channel, and it's got to be end product, Clive. You know, he's got to beat that first man.
Searching ball from Neves, finds Semedo on an overlapping run, and Zinchenko has to go across to block his volleyed cross, and Wolverhampton Wanderers have won a corner kick on the right hand side, and that will be a signal for all 3 of their centre backs to come forward. Gonzalo Guedes will try to deliver from that right hand side, right footed. He's taken it short to Moutinho, just outside the penalty area. Wide out to Guedes again. Crossed in with a bit of a deflection, and it actually lands on the roof of Ramsdale's net. And everybody back to their stations, because Wolves have another corner on the right-hand side.
Well, straight away you can see Totti Gomez having a proper go, because you would. The 3 centre-backs come up, it's an opportunity to put the ball right in the mix and go and attack it. And like, I don't want to see short corners there. You know, you've got Maximilian Kilman there who is excellent and so aggressive at attacking the ball. Nathan Collins as well. So put it on the money. Ask the question.
Guedes will deliver this corner. This time it's driven back towards Ruben Neves outside the penalty area. Another variation on the traditional theme, and all the centre-backs run back unhappily. What we saw then was an attempt to pick out Neves for a volley just outside the penalty area, but the guided corner from Guedes wasn't guided nearly accurately enough, and Arsenal are back on the ball with Thomas Partey. We've had 13 minutes here at Molineux. We're live on Talksport, and it's 0-0. Forward for Arsenal comes Gabriel Jesus, cutting in from the left-hand side, looking for Martinelli. Manages to divert the ball back to Partey. Now an opportunity for Saliba to venture forward. White looks up midway through the Wolves half of the field. Out to Saka on the right-hand side. Back to White once more, 15 metres outside the penalty area. Nice interchange with Ødegaard. Saka's back on the ball, deflected cross, and Jose Sa had to deal with that because as it was deflected, it actually started to loop and dip towards his goal, and he just had to help it over the crossbar.
Well, if he doesn't put a hand on that, Clive, that's going in. It's just sneaking in at the front post. Saka, excellent play down this right hand side. He's got two against him at every opportunity, but there's always something coming in, even if he's cutting back. Good quality coming into the box.
Bukayo Saka, the youngest player in a very young Arsenal team, youngest average age in the Premier League so far this season, will take this corner from the right hand side. It will be with his left foot, so it will either be swung in under Jose Sa's crossbar or played short to Martin Ødegaard, who is offering himself. Saka raising an arm as if to indicate that he is going to launch it into the penalty area, where both Gabriel and Saliba are forward, and the header's on by Gabriel, and he just glanced it wide of Sa's right hand post. Gabriel Magalhaes, who claimed the winning goal at Stamford Bridge last weekend. There is going to be a change. Granit Xhaka has not recovered. He's not shaken off whatever that difficulty that he experienced in the very opening moments of the game. I don't think it's a problem which is going to endanger his chances of taking part in the World Cup finals, but he is coming off, and interestingly, Arsenal have gone for quite an attacking option here. Fabio Vieira is coming on his place.
Yeah, like you say, excellent young player, box to box. I think with Thomas Partey just sitting in that kind of hold, and it gives them that little bit more freedom to go and get involved. But it's going to be the way that Wolves are set up tonight, it's going to be a lot of movement, that trickery, that kind of awareness about the space and using the ball well to get in behind.
Vieira, who had more than 70 minutes playing as a number 10 on Wednesday against Brighton. He started all 7 of the cup games that Arsenal played this season. Has been a regular substitute in the Premier League. Didn't really impress on Wednesday at the Emirates, but he is a very talented and technical midfield player, and it looks like the challenge for Arsenal this evening is going to be to unlock the massed gold ranks of the Wolves defence. They're going to see plenty of the ball and going to have plenty of opportunity, and that little bit of ingenuity and flair which Vieira certainly possesses could come in handy now.
No, definitely. You look at how organised Wolves are at the minute. I think it's one of them. Can they keep that up? They are working very hard. You work a lot harder without the ball, but they're switched on. A lot of leaders out there organising, which is a must.
16 minutes gone at Molineux, live on Talksport. Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Arsenal 0. On the ball for Arsenal is Gabriel, played back to Saliba inside the centre circle, just inside his own half, out to White on the right hand side. Now Saka on the touchline, immediately engaged by Bueno, and he goes back. Arsenal trying to mix patience with penetrative attack. Zinchenko coming into that fourth position infield again, feeds Saliba out by Gabriel Jesus to Martinelli. Those passes made under pressure though. Wolves are backing off to a point, but whenever Arsenal try to play through them, the tackles are coming in sharp and snappy. Now a little bit of space though for Ben White to venture over the halfway line for Arsenal. Infield to Thomas Partey, but under pressure from Guedes, he goes back again. Out to Ødegaard, of whom we've seen little so far. And Arsenal are being very watchful, almost trying to work out exactly how they're going to go about this.
Well, you look at where the space is. I think if you look at that back five, they shuffle across. So at any given time, it's Bukayo Saka.
Zinchenko was caught in possession, and Traore went off on another solo mazy run, which didn't get quite so far this time. Arsenal have won it back, and Arsenal almost want to see Wolves commit something to attack. They almost want to try to lure and draw them out. Zinchenko, though, midway through the Wolves half, has found Vieira, all left-footed, comes back to the equally left-footed Gabriel Magalhaes. Back to Saliba on the halfway line. Wolves saying, no, we'll stay exactly where we are if you don't mind. We'll keep our shape, and let's see if you can play through us. Snappy pass out to the right-hand side and Saka, and it's very important that Arsenal pass the ball with real tempo.
They have to. I think the pace of the ball is so important, but at the minute it's Martinelli or Saka. That's the key. They've got to get the ball early rather than those little small passes. The big long pass, switch of play when it's on. Wolves are very, very organised, and at the minute, that has to be better. It's nowhere near good enough. Nelson Semedo, you get possession of the ball, you've not had it for a couple of minutes, make sure you get those couple of little passes in. He's just went in behind. Adama Traore is actually shown to feet. The ball wasn't on.
Arsenal began very positively at Chelsea last Sunday. Their 11th win in 13 Premier League games. It was a narrow one, but it was a deserved one. Top spot at Christmas, and a 5-point lead is the prize for another triumph here. Arsenal haven't managed to be top at Christmas for 15 years, since Fabregas and Van Persie and Adebayor were in their team. Big footsteps to follow in, but so far so good this season. Saka on the ball, running up Bueno again in an attacking position on the Arsenal right, inside to White. He tries to switch the point of the direction of the attack. There's a miscontrol by Martinelli, and Wolves can counter, and briefly they've got 4-on-4 here, and Semedo's on the ball, and he's fed it through, and here's an opportunity for Guedes, and it was a good chance too, and he fired it over the crossbar. Razor sharp break from Wolverhampton Wanderers, and it was 4 against 4.
Yeah, it was. That Ben White went for that big switch. Martinelli miscontrolled it. Nelson Semedo's bombing on, great energy as well, and the way it passed to Guedes was excellent. The run was brilliant. Has to get it low across the goal there. He's trying to go power into the roof of the net. You've got to work the goalkeeper, haven't you? You have to with that opportunity. But excellent play from Wolves there down that right hand side.
He scored his first goal for Wolves on his recall last Saturday and took it very, very well on the run, under a little bit of pressure. Stayed in the team midweek and played over an hour. Gonzalo Guedes has had a rather disappointing start to his Wolves career on the whole. Arsenal coming forward, it's still 0-0. Crossed in by Martinelli, but not with any real conviction, and Semedo blocked it, and it's gone out of play for an Arsenal throw-in. And Gabriel has the ball again, out to Zinchenko, still midway inside the Wolves half of the field. Vieira, who's come on for Xhaka in the opening stages, shows and passes the ball to Thomas Partey, and now Saliba can come forward. Saka, who is seeing a lot of the ball on the Arsenal right, and he's taking on Bueno again, and this time the young Spanish fullback gets the better of Bukayo Saka and wins the ball. No way out for Bueno, but he's managed to very skillfully retain possession of the ball, and Totti Gomez can go long up towards Adama Traore, who fights his corner well, heads it down, but heads it only to Ødegaard, and now White can come forward for Arsenal. Ødegaard again. Arsenal just being a little guarded, I think, in their approach. They've almost been stung on the counter-attack on a couple of occasions. They've got all night to win this game, 70-odd minutes still, and it's clearly a game that they're going to dominate, and they want to dominate by scoring the first goal. Their task will become doubly difficult if they do concede the opening goal. Saka into White, just outside the penalty area, but when it's tight in that central area of the field, it's difficult to play through, and Neves won it back. Guedes has lost it again, though. Zinchenko now. Left of him is Gabriel Jesus, up as far as the edge of the penalty area. Wonderful individual run. His shot is blocked by Kilman, and it's cleared downfield by Semedo. But you can understand why Arsenal don't want to be lured into doing anything silly here.
Yeah, but they've got to make sure that they don't get frustrated as well. You look at their body language now, they're at it. In behind, great little ball for Martinelli.
Vieira just lofting the ball to Martinelli, who protects it from Semedo. Back to goal just outside the box. Vieira trying to seize upon it but couldn't control it. Moutinho dispossessed him. Ruben Neves can bring the ball away for Wolves, but again a little bit too anxious to get it forward early to the pacey Guedes and Traore up front, and the pass was picked off, and yet again Arsenal are back on the ball. We're midway through the first half. We're live on Talksport. It's Wolves 0, Arsenal 0. Saka, overlapping run now from Ben White, cut back from the dead ball line. Gabriel Jesus just couldn't quite grow enough. It's come as far as Vieira, edge of the penalty area. Zinchenko across, and Gabriel Jesus with a flashing header, this time just wide of the mark. But Arsenal starting to create some openings.
Yeah, excellent quality down this right hand side. Bukayo Saka, great way to pass Ben White, done everything right. Just found his man, beat the first man with the cross, and it was Nelson Semedo that had to be there with a defensive header. But again, winning second balls, ball comes straight in, and Jesus is always on the move. steals it goalwards. Sarr, I think if it's on target, I think he's struggling there.
Gabriel Jesus has looked like scoring in nearly all of those 10 games that he's gone without finding the net. He's got a particularly good record against Wolverhampton Wanderers, strangely. 5 goals for Manchester City, one of them here. But he's got a different role this season. Manchester City have played him wide a lot in the last 12 or 18 months, and I played him often from the bench. He's never started more than 22 Premier League games in a season before. You fancy, providing he stays fit, he's going to start all 38 this season.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's taken to it. He's the main man, isn't he? The missing piece of the jigsaw. Am I right? Is best to return 13 goals in a Premier League season, Clive?
Yeah, it's a little misleading that because of all the substitute appearances that he's made. But 14 is actually his best Premier League haul. But when you've never started more than 22 in a season, that's pretty good, isn't it?
You're not wrong.
Free kick for Wolves, just 10 metres outside their penalty area. Totti Gomez takes it short to Bueno. Wolves almost just familiarising themselves with the ball because they haven't seen a lot of it. Moutinho trying to get Bueno away down this left flank. But they're playing in handcuffs a bit tonight, Wolves, really. They have got a very solid defensive shape. Presumably it's something that Steve Davis has worked on with them in the last 2 days. But I don't know, I think it's cramping their style a bit.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's certain things that already, you look at the distance between Adama Traore and Guedes, they have to get closer. They have to have an understanding, a relationship. There's been a couple of occasions, Hugo Bueno, the ball goes from back to front with good quality as well, and Adama Traore is trying to head it back rather than flick it on or take it in the chest and link up with Guedes. There has to be an understanding there, Clive.
Wolves 0, Arsenal 0. Saliba on the ball for Arsenal. We've had 25 minutes of the first half. Ben White with his foot on the ball. Roll back to Saliba again. Once more, just trying to draw Wolves out. White. The Arsenal back four are allowed to have the ball without any challenge, but now it's buried forward to Saka, and this is where Wolves start to engage their opponents, and Arsenal have to go back again. Square from Saliba to Gabriel, out to the left-hand side. Zinchenko holding the width this time. Vieira makes a run in towards the edge of the penalty area and controls it, but he's chased out again towards the touchline by Neves. Played into Gabriel Jesus. He just first time laid it off to Gabriel. Now White, back out to the right-hand side now. Saka running up Bueno once more, but coming in field and running back into traffic. On the ball is Gabriel, out to Zinchenko left-hand side. Now he plays a high ball into the middle, which is headed away by Bueno, kept alive by White. He's found Ødegaard inside the box, now driven wide outside the penalty area by Guedes with a challenge. Ødegaard manages to retain possession. White tried to compete for the ball, thought he'd won a corner kick, but a goal kick has been given to Wolves. It's Wolves 0, Arsenal 0. The latest odds are available from Betfair, the official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage. At this moment, you can get a Wolverhampton Wanderers victory at 11-2. The draw is 13-5. Arsenal are 7-4 on, and Gabriel Jesus is 9-2 to score the first goal. Those odds are from Betfair. You must be 18 or over, and do be aware of begambleaware.org. I haven't told you who's officiating tonight. Stuart Atwell is in charge out in the middle, and he's just had a word with Ben White because Ben White was having a word with him. But a lot of time has passed, and that's good news really for Wolverhampton Wanderers, who's, well, one of their priorities tonight is to run the clock down and try to make it a 15-20 minute match if they can.
No, they have to. I think they've got to manage the game, haven't they? I think they're doing okay. I think Steve Davis will be happy with the organisation and the tempo. I think the defensive qualities are definitely shown. I need to see a little bit more with the ball. I think they've got great energy. They have troubled Arsenal on a couple of occasions with that quality, with the speed and the pace that's in the team down both flanks. But there needs to be end product.
And Arsenal have created only one truly clear chance so far, a headed chance for Gabriel Jesus, which flashed wide. We've had 28 minutes of play. The headline from the evening so far, Granit Xhaka only played 15 minutes before walking off the field. He just looked under the weather from the first couple of minutes of the game and was eventually substituted with Fabio Vieira coming on in his place. Ødegaard has the ball midway through the Wolves half from the right-hand side for Arsenal. Play to Vieira, immediately under pressure from Neves. Now White square of him. Saka tries to play it back, and it's seized upon by Moutinho. And chance of a counter-attack, and Ødegaard stops that counter-attack by holding back Moutinho. Free kick has been given. As yet no yellow card. It was a tactical foul, and I'd be very surprised if Stuart Atwell doesn't get a card out of his pocket here.
Well, he has to. Surely he's there. He's definitely pulled him back. It was a great free kick from Ødegaard. Wolves were on the break, but Atwell's position was, he's not bringing the card out, he's just having a word. That's a tactical foul. It has to be a yellow card, Clive.
Can I say something really controversial? Is that okay? He's never been my favourite referee, but I think he's done well this season. Actually, the League Cup final last season he handled very well indeed, and I've been more impressed with Stuart Atwell in the last few months. I'm sure he'll be delighted to hear that I am now impressed by him, but I can't understand why he didn't yellow card Ødegaard for holding back an opponent who was counter-attacking there. The ball at the moment is with Aaron Ramsdale, who's been watching this game very much with Chris and I so far, and he thumps it down the field, and Arsenal with a header forward towards White, and here's Saka just inside his own half of the field, but he's outnumbered and run off the ball, and Wolves have it back. Kilman, 15 metres outside his penalty area, goes back to Nathan Collins, forward to Ruben Neves, back to Kilman again, out to Totti on the left-hand side. All this happening deep inside Wolves territory. Bueno up to the halfway line where Moutinho's come from an offside position, and Arsenal have it back.
Clive, it was excellent there from Wolves. Nathan Collins, Neves, Kilman, obviously Totti, keeping the ball excellent. Moutinho's just drifted offside. It's a great little ball down the line from Hugo Bueno. He has to make sure that he's switched on. I know that he's trying to pull Ødegaard out of position there, but he has to be an outlet and keep the ball for us there as well.
Steve Davis has set a bit of a trap here for Arsenal. It is a very defensive setup, you have to say, by Wolverhampton Wanderers. On this, the strangest of the strange 40 days and 40 nights that he's been in charge of a club that he's always adored but never played for. Found his way to his football home 3 years ago as the under-18s coach, and that's a job that he will return to after tonight. His assistant these last 6 weeks, James Collins, will take charge of the under-21s again. That has been said. Tony Roberts, the goalkeeping coach, I think he's still waiting to hear, but he's off to the World Cup finals with as part of Rob Page's Wales coaching team. Once on the Arsenal coaching staff, and a real character, Tony Roberts. If Julian Lopetegui doesn't need him, somebody else will very soon. It's still 0-0, and Arsenal have had the ball whilst I was talking about Steve Davis, and have made no progress with it. Wolves holding their shape. Now a forward ball by Zinchenko, a little bit more searching, and Vieira's into the dead ball line and finds a cross, but he finds only the head of Max Kilman, who's wearing a black protective headband these days. He heads it out for a throw-in to Arsenal in front of the travelling Arsenal fans. Thomas Partey just drying the ball on his red shirt, in fact finding a towel and giving it a real good complete he's got his hands right. When you're ready, Thomas. He's been drying the ball here for about 15 seconds. Looks like he's just come on to bowl rather than take a throw-in, but it's 15 metres from the corner flag. Arsenal centre-backs are belatedly forward for it, and Thomas Partey is going to throw it in a moment. Here it comes, in towards the near post. Gabriel tried to turn it on. It was turned out of play by Totti, and instead of a long throw, Arsenal have a corner kick on the left-hand side, one that Gabriel Martinelli is going out to take. But now Wolverhampton Wanderers have a bit of a problem. Nelson Semedo is holding his back, but he's not going to need any treatment. He's back on duty, guarding the near post, as Martinelli places the ball on the quadrant, raises a right arm. He's got Ødegaard available for a short one. Saliba and Gabriel are forward. Martinelli whips it in towards the edge of the 6-yard box, where Kilman heads clear and Traore chest down, and then it's given away by Bueno. Arsenal have it back. Cross from Ødegaard, headed away this time by Totti. Right down to Saka. Gabriel Jesus is offering himself on the touchline. Saka finds him, But Wolves are back in their shape again, and Arsenal have to be patient.
Well, that's why you look at Jesus is coming out of position, because he's not seeing a lot of the ball. Even Saka, he's drifting into the centre of the pitch. Martinelli's dropping deep. They have to keep disciplined and make sure that they're stretching Wolves and move in their movement. The rotations are excellent. I'm really impressed with Fabio Vieira. I think that his third man running, he's choosing the right moments when to burst into the box, and they have the quality to find them.
Saka's found a way past Bueno, laid off to White. Little flick from Ødegaard didn't quite come off, but Arsenal are in need of something a little more extravagant, a little ingenious flick or touch in order to try to unlock what is a very, very disciplined Wolves defence. And Boubacar Traore's made an interception, and Wolves can have a counter-attack, and Traore's found his way forward past Gabriel Jesus, feeds Guedes, now in an attacking position. Semedo, 10 metres outside the penalty area, played back to Ruben Neves, square to Moutinho, edge of the centre circle. Wolverhampton Wanderers attack developing here. It's Bueno on the left-hand touchline, and then they think better of it and go back to Kilman on the halfway line.
Well, there was opportunity, wasn't there, down that right-hand side. Nelson Semedo, even Neves was out there for the ball to come in. Just put across in Adama Traore in the box. I guess just keep possession. You know, they've not seen the ball for a while, so it's important they do have moments like this, that they just try and get a couple of passes and build that confidence.
Kilman guided out towards the right-hand side, looking for Semedo. It came off Zinchenko, and it's fallen here for Guedes, who can now run at Gabriel just inside the penalty area. Gonzalo Guedes, he tried to flick because Semedo was on just inside him, but it was too clever by a half, and I'm not sure he didn't kick against himself, to be honest, and lost possession. And Martinelli has it for Arsenal, up towards Saka. Now an opportunity for Arsenal to maybe catch Wolves short of cover. Saka on towards Gabriel Jesus. He's in behind Wolves here with a real chance. Gabriel Jesus inside the box and just grazes the top of the crossbar with an angle shot. His hands go to his head. He knows that was a clear-sided goal. But as he turned and smacked it with his right foot, he looked up to see it hit the top of the crossbar and bounce behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, looking at the monitor, Clive, I think it would have been offside just there anyway if he did score, but it was excellent play. Saka, the way to pass was excellent. The run from Jesus, as we've seen on the monitor, was just offside. I think he should have took the shot straight away. I think coming back onto his right, opening up the goal, okay, hit the crossbar. He did have a lot to do, but ask the question of Jose Sa when it first presented itself there, and I think
Arsenal have scored in every game they played so far this season. They've been kept at arm's length here with 10 minutes of the first half remaining. It is Wolves 0, Arsenal 0 on Talksport with Car Finance 24/7. Search Car Finance 24/7 today. Wolves on the ball with Bueno midway through the Arsenal half, but under pressure from Saka, he comes back to Totti. Neves fed out to Bueno once more, down the touchline towards Traore, who uses his body well to spin away from Ben White into a crossing position. Saliba came out though to block that cross. Adama Traore still has the ball. Back to Ruben Neves, just outside the Arsenal penalty area, trying to trick his way into the box, but he's absolutely surrounded and eventually dispossessed. And Gabriel Jesus dribbles the ball away, and he is tricked as he tries to make progress. The yellow card is coming out this time for Totti Gomez, who's particularly angry. I think there's a suspicion that Gabriel Jesus went to ground very easily, but a yellow card it is for Totti Gomez on his return.
Yeah, it's always going to be a difficult one for Stuart Atwell there. I think he's got it right, and I'm going to have to wait and look at the monitor. There was 3 Wolves shots around Gabriel Jesus. You know, he did get in behind. I'm looking at the monitor now. Maybe there is a little bit of a contact. It's silly from Totti Gomez anyway. He just left the foot out there. In fact, I'm looking at it. There's no contact, Clive, is there?
Maybe foot to foot. It was a strange one because he almost turned his body the wrong way and then had to sort of dangle a foot behind himself in order to try to stop Gabriel Jesus making further progress. And whilst he didn't stop him with the outstretched leg, I'm not sure that his foot didn't come down on top of Gabriel Jesus's. Either way, free kick has been given. It is still 0-0. We've had nearly 38 minutes, and the pattern of the game resumes with Arsenal on the ball, but being kept at a safe distance for the most part by Wolverhampton Wanderers. Gabriel Jesus with a flashing header has gone close. He hit the crossbar, but we think that would have been offside if it had been on target. Arsenal coming forward again with Martinelli down their left-hand side. He's trying to get beyond Semedo, and goal kick has been given. Martinelli thought he'd run a corner. He picked up 2 yellow cards in very quick succession here in February. 2 rather narky barges. He got himself in a very dark mood, couldn't get out of it, and weirdly he picked up a 1-match ban, and his return 2 weeks later was against Wolves. The two teams met twice in a fortnight last season, but we saw the other side of Martinelli that night. He's been a very bright and inventive attacking force for Arsenal so far this season, but they need more invention at the moment because Wolves are keeping them out. Forward comes Ødegaard, helped on towards Saka, about 15 metres outside the Wolves penalty area. Ødegaard has overlapped him onto his left foot, crossed in, but easy enough for Kilman. Huge height advantage for Wolves with anything that's crossed in the air. Thomas Partey tries to force it forward, a little fortuitously finds Vieira. He rides a challenge from Kilman, but not one from Moutinho. Guedes is on the ball for Wolves. Adama Traore looking for his namesake Boubacar, but good challenge this time by Gabriel Jesus. Martinelli just outside the Wolves penalty area, infield onto his right foot, rolled now into the path of Ben White, lofted back into the penalty area. Gabriel Jesus with a volley chance, and he got that all wrong. It was a difficult chance. There was an angle, came at an awkward height. He had to kind of improvise a guided volley, but he mishit it.
Well, he's found himself in space at the back area. I think it's an excellent ball from Ben White. You know, he just can't. He's actually took it with the instep of his foot. I think he can wrap the foot round that, Clive, with the laces, and I think he can ask the question. Yeah, I think he's got the momentum. He's kind of jogging forward. The ball from Ben White, I don't think it's a bad one at all, but he's a little bit ahead of it. But I still think he has the quality to get his foot round that and hit the target there.
The voice of Chris Iwelumo with 5 minutes of the first half remaining here on Talksport. Wolves 0, Arsenal 0. Headed flick on by Moutinho, trying to get Guedes on his way, and down he goes, but it was a dive. Traore's got the ball just outside the penalty area and goes for a blast. Guedes felt he was fouled there by Gabriel. A very well placed referee waved his finger in rebuke at the Wolves forward because he thought he made the most of that. It's a goal kick to Arsenal. Here's a thought for you, Chris. I know it's a very old-fashioned thought, but Saka left-footed from the right, Martinelli right-footed from the left. I remember a day when left wingers used to be left-footed and right wingers used to be right-footed. I understand inverted wingers, but when you're trying to open somebody up, would it be an idea to switch them?
Spot on. I think that's something that we will see in this game. I think Arteta won't be happy with the chances that they've not created in this game. They've had a lot of the ball, but it's all pretty comfortable for Wolves at the minute. You know, I think the defenders are organised well. I think that three's protecting the back five very, very well. And in that transition, Wolves are looking a threat when they break forward in numbers.
Yeah, the wide men have been cutting in field and running into traffic for the most part for Arsenal. I just wonder if they'll have a little bit more joy if they try to get on the outside and into the dead ball line. Wolves looking for a counter-attack, but a ball hopelessly overhit by Bueno. Mikel Arteta very animated just outside his technical area, which seems to be his position of choice at the moment. He's from the same corner of Spain as Julian Lopetegui. They were born about 12 miles apart, 12 miles and 16 years, but they are known to each other. White on the ball for us, and it's 0-0. Saka receives it with his back to goal on the touchline. Under pressure from Bueno, goes back to Thomas Partey. Now on the board it's Gabriel, leaves it for Zinchenko, cutting through the centre of the field, but it's a very crowded centre of the field, and you do feel that Arsenal need to find and make the most of their width if they are to stretch Wolves and find a way past them.
Yeah, they do. They need to find Martinelli, they need to find Saka a lot earlier. I know it's understandable being patient, moving the ball around, but they have to move it around quicker to get any space in behind this.
Partey square to Vieira, trying a shot from the edge of the penalty area, blocked pretty comfortably by Kilman, and Semedo is able to clear his lines at the expense of an Arsenal throw in 20 metres from the corner flag.
Well, it's not great defending from Semedo there. Yeah, he's getting pressured, he's running towards his own goal, and he just kicks out of play. You know, bounce it off Issa. He can see the full pitch, even he can clear it up, and then you can defensively get up in your numbers. But just giving the ball away sloppily like that, it's nowhere near good enough for me.
A foul throw taken by Zinchenko, so the throw-in goes Wolverhampton Wanderers' way. Wolves have gone in here with the front two, albeit they're playing almost like deep-lying midfield players because of the nature of the game and the territorial advantage Arsenal have. But they're both very, very quick indeed, Adama Traore and Gonzalo Guedes. What they're not are target men. And so I just wonder whether there is a target to relieve Wolves' lines when somebody like Semedo is in that position and just wants to get it downfield and take a breather. Anyway, Totti Gomez is trying to do that and get Bueno on his way down the left-hand side. It's tidied up by Saliba. His back pass is awful, and Guedes here has a chance! A big chance which he's put wide. Got away with that Arsenal now. Is it deflected wide or is it saved by Ramsdale? Either way, it's a corner kick to Wolves on the right-hand side, but they'll feel they should have had a goal.
Well, it's sloppy, isn't it, from Saliba? You know, he's passing it back to Ramsdale there. Guedes is behind him. He's just intercepted it, took the sting of it, and then he's running in on goal. I've got to say, it's Gabriel with a little touch, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Blocking touch, which looped it beyond the post. He helped out his central defensive partner there because Saliba got Arsenal in trouble, and to a large extent it was Gabriel who got them out, although they've still got some defending to do with this corner kick for Wolves on the right hand side. Guedes takes it towards the near post where Bueno was waiting. Arsenal haven't defended it particularly well, and it's kept alive by Semedo and then eventuuli booted clear by Bukayo Saka back inside of his penalty area, and Wolves have a throw in their right hand side about 15 metres from the corner flag. We're in the last of the 45 minutes. There will be some added time. There was a stoppage in play very early on when Granit Xhaka declared that he was feeling unwell and received some medical attention. We're just about to find out from the fourth official, Tom Bramall, exactly how long the added time will be as Wolves come forward from this throw-in. They've gone all the way back to Collins, square again to Kilman. It's 2 added minutes that we've got here at the end of the first half at Molineux. Just floated into the penalty area, and it's fallen here for Guedes in a dangerous position, but he didn't have a lot of support. He was caught in about 3 minds, and Gabriel was able to clear.
Well, it was an excellent ball from Kilman. Find Adama Traore just helped it on. Guedes kept it alive, but there's no one centrally. You know, I think it was, I'm looking at it as Moutinho that's trying to break his neck to get into the 6-yard box to receive the ball from Guedes, and they just have to have an understanding there.
Well, you can't have everything. You've got 15 defenders. You can't have 5 centre forwards. I'm sorry.
Very true.
Here's Traore, who is playing up front. Adama Traore, that is, for Wolves, played back to Guedes, who's given it away, and Gabriel Jesus is on the ball, and Arsenal got a chance of a counter-attack. Gabriel Jesus just held and hauled to the ground by Boubacar Traore, and that's got to be a yellow card. There's an unhappiness here because it wasn't totally dissimilar to a foul that Ødegaard was not carded for, but it was a bit more vigorous and a bit more violent, and I think he might even have stood on Gabriel Jesus after he pulled him down, and Boubacar Traore is yellow carded.
All you want to see, Clive, is a little bit of consistency. You know, I think very, very similar to the one with Ødegaard earlier on, and Stuart Atwell just had a word. You know, what I will say is, yeah, there was a little coming together when Boubacar Traore is trying to get over Jesus there.
Well, both Traore and Totti Gomez now are on yellow cards, and Wolves are having to do a lot of defending and a lot of challenging in this game. So there is an element of jeopardy now. It's Arsenal who've had the disciplinary problems in this fixture in the last couple of years. They've had 3 players red carded in their last 2 visits to Molineux. Free kick here, about 16-17 metres outside the penalty area, left of centre as Arsenal look at it. Martin Ødegaard is over the ball, curled in towards the hedge, really good header away by Ruben Neves. Vieira thought about a volley as it fell to him, instead plays it back to Ødegaard. He realises that he's last man and has to go back to Ben White, and that is the end of the first half. I can't tell you it's been the most wonderful football match that I've seen so far this season, but then Wolverhampton Wanderers never wanted it to be. Right from the outset, Steve Davis set up with a back 5, first time since last season that Wolves have operated with that kind of defensive setup, and we saw from the opening exchanges their number 1 priority here tonight was containment. As a plan B, they would counter-attack whenever they could, and they have counter-attacked once or twice with some devil, and Gonzalo Guedes has had a couple of sights of the Arsenal goal, and that's probably as many sights as Arsenal have really had of the Wolverhampton Wanderers goal. A couple of chances, half chances really for Gabriel Jesus, but But at half-time, Faye, there is no surprise that it is Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Arsenal absolutely 0. No change of personnel as yet. Whether there'll be a change in approach from either team remains to be seen. I doubt that Julian Lopetegui has played any active part in the half-time talk, even though he is here. Wolves have taken their time to find their new manager. Michael Beale was courted. There was talk of a reunion with Nuno Espirito Santo, but Lopetegui was their first choice as far as we know. Apparently the first choice of the owners when they took over at Molineux 6 years ago. He's taken his time. His father's recent ill health delayed his arrival a little, while a number of his staff were here on Wednesday to watch the Carabao Cup win over Leeds, and tonight Lopetegui is here in person to see what he's in for. But Steve Davis, who's done such a capable job and a proud job as caretaker manager, has selected the team for tonight, and he's selected a team to keep Arsenal at bay, and that's what they've done in the first half so far. Now I'll run you through those lineups with Jose Sarr in goal for Wolves, and then a back five of Semedo, Collins, Kilman, Totti and Bueno. A midfield three of Boubacar Traoré, Neves and Moutinho, and the front two are Adama Traoré and Gonzalo Guedes. Arsenal, for their part, started with the same team which won at Chelsea last weekend, but Granit Xhaka, who looked ill from the kickoff, he was in discomfort for some reason a minute or so into the game. He soldiered on for 15 or so before being replaced by Vieira. So Arsenal now have Ramsdale in goal, back four of White, Saliba, Gabriel and Zinchenko, midfield trio of Ødegaard, Partey and Vieira, and a front three of Saka, Gabriel Jesus and Martinelli. Chris Iwelumo is alongside Clive Tilsley here. We're live at Molineux, and it looks like the same setup that we saw in the first.
Yeah, very much the same. I think Steve Davis will be very happy with how the first half planned out. I'm just watching Arteta, Clive, and he's gesturing, he's giving information all the time. He's wanting the ball moved a lot quicker. Centrally you're looking at Saliba and Gabriel and Partey. They're just keeping possession of the ball. It has to get out to those wide areas a lot earlier.
It's gone wide now to Martinelli on the Arsenal left-hand side, confronted by Semedo. Cuts infield again onto his favoured right foot, tried to squirt a high cross towards the far post, but it wasn't a very good one. It's headed away by Bueno, but Saka's back on the ball for Arsenal, and now Ødegaard, and he just clips the ball in towards Vieira, headed away this time by Collins, and Adama Traoré can try to break, and Traoré takes some catching, and he's gone alone here, and he's linked up with Guedes, and Guedes is 15 metres outside the penalty area, way back towards Traoré, and at least some action for Ramsdale. Guedes maybe had an opportunity to go himself, but tried to return the ball to Traoré, and the pass was always teasing him and getting away from him, and Ramsdale had to come out with a smart piece of goalkeeping, but he was always favourite to grab that.
Yeah, another excellent piece of play there from Wolves. Adama Traoré had to do it all himself, really. I think the pass to Guedes was just a little bit behind him. He had to kind of break his stride. I think if it's in front of him, I think he would have got there and had that opportunity. But like you say, it's to try and find him again, there was no room for error in the pass from Guedes outside of the right boot to Adama Traoré, and like you say, Ramsdale came out and just cleared up the danger there.
Wolves 0, Arsenal 0 on Talksport with Now Sports. With Now Sports you can stream all the Sky Sports action, including this game, live right now for $11.99, no contract. Search Now Sports. Live and exclusive on Talksport this evening. Arsenal guaranteed a top spot at Christmas following Manchester City's home defeat to Brentford today. They have a 2-point lead, which they're trying to extend to 5 points with a victory here this evening. Manchester City's goal difference is still 6 better than Arsenal's. It's a little bit early to be talking in those terms, and you've no need to talk in those terms if you're 5 points clear. Here's Ødegaard midway through the Wolves half of the field, trying to trick his way into some space and find Saka on the edge of the penalty area. Support from Ben White, but again being forced back and told by Ødegaard to go back to Saliba, and now Gabriel inside the centre circle. He plays it square to Zinchenko. Wolves push up as far as the halfway line. and almost tempt Arsenal just to throw a high ball forward. But that's one thing Arsenal can't do tonight, because the height in the Wolves' defence is considerable.
Yeah, but I still think when they're down the right-hand side, Ben White there had an opportunity to put the cross in. Odegaard and Saka, they linked up very well to create. You can see Arteta, he's shaking his head all the time, because just the tempo of the passing is too slow. Very comfortable for Wolves. They can get into possession, shuffle across, make it easy, shut up the distances. They have to ask that question. That ball whipped in, Clive, from wide areas between the last defender and the goalkeeper. You know, the movement of Jesus, the movement of Martinelli and Saka, that will always cause problems.
Counter-attack on here, and Traore can go clear. He's got Guedes with him. He tried to cross it when he might have actually run into open space himself. Semedo was originally tripped as he tried to break clear, and I think the referee might come back and show a yellow card. Meanwhile, Arsenal are counter-attacking, but Adama Traore bursting down the right-hand side with all that speed that he has, looked up and tried to play across, and I think Chrissy could have gone on considerably further.
Well, he has to go on. He has to go right for goal there, and then as soon as Saliba commits himself, that's when to release the ball to Guedes there, or you get your shot away yourself. But it was lazy play for me. You know, he's got behind the defence with the pace and the power and the strength that he's got. Just drive towards goal.
I mean, you'll have played in games where you've had precious little of the ball, either by tactical intent or you're just playing against a very good team, and sometimes when you do get the ball, you get a little bit desperate, a little bit anxious to do something with it.
But that's the professional. You've got to be aware, you've got to be switched on all the time. That concentration level, you know, Adama Traore, that's one of his attributes, the pace, the strength. He's got in behind the Arsenal defence here. They're not going to catch you if you're in at goal.
It's Wolves on the ball with Guedes. Out to Semedo, 15 metres inside the Arsenal half of the field. It's still goalless at Molineux. Boubacar Traore goes back to Nathan Collins, and square again to Max Kilman, just on the edge of the centre circle. Ruben Neves takes over, strokes a pass into the path of Collins again. Arsenal's turn to defend. Semedo coming forward down the right hand side, crosses it in. It just glanced off Zinchenko rather dangerously, but Ben White beyond the far post deals with it and hooks it high and rather agriculturally clear, and out for a throw in. And belatedly, Thomas Partey, who was guilty of a trip seems like about 15 minutes ago, is in fact about 3 or 4 minutes ago, is now yellow carded.
Well, again, Stuart Atwell there, I think it was good refereeing, isn't it? He allowed the game to flow, allowed the game to play. He always knew that the card was coming out for Thomas Partey there, but like you say, look at Nelson Semedo there. Doesn't even look, Clive. Just opens up, whips the ball in, and it causes all sorts of problems. No matter, there's only one Adama Traore in the box at the time as well. I need to see more of that from Arsenal, because they're getting so much of the ball in both wide areas.
Referee did well to remember who it was who did the trip, actually. Maybe VAR helped him out a bit with that, because there were a good 3 minutes of play passed before he showed the yellow card. Now, Boubacar Traore's got to be careful. He's just tripped Vieira. He's already got a yellow card. Arsenal have the ball and play is waved on. Vieira again into the path of White. Out to Saka on the right-hand side, on the touchline. Chance him to run at the edge of the penalty area. Instead feeds it into Odegaard. He dummies and lets it run to Vieira, who tries to help it on to Zinchenko, and that's over hit. And it's gone out for a throw-in. I just wonder if there was a belated second yellow coming for Boubacar Traore, but there's not.
Well, I think Steve Davis has to have one eye on that as well. I think he has to make a change. Like you say, Arsenal have got so much of the ball. There is challenges coming in. You cannot play against an Arsenal side with this.
By the way, we've just had a look at that. That's a yellow card.
That is a yellow card. That is a yellow card. I don't think the first one should have been a yellow, in fairness, Clive, but I'm looking at that, and the Stuart Atwell should have brought the card out.
Boubacar Traore, very fortunate indeed. He had a good night here on Wednesday, won that cup tie against Leeds with a late goal, an absolute screamer, hit with powerfully but with the side of his foot. Steve Davis admitted afterwards it caught him by surprise, and Traore has now started 4 of the last 5 Premier League games. May not finish this one unless he's careful. He's in with another challenge here on Martinelli, who does well to ride it, peels away and bursts into the Wolves half of the field, but Traore is not holding back. Martinelli trying to get past Moutinho now, drives it square to Zinchenko. A bit more purpose about the Arsenal passing. Gabriel Jesus in field. Here's a chance for Vieira. It's an angle that's difficult, but it's in. Arsenal have taken the lead. Vieira set it up. Martinelli has scored it. And with Arsenal, a chance to go 5 points clear at the top. 9 minutes of the second half played, and they worked that beautifully. It was Fabio Vieira who made it happen, and Martinelli who took it.
Well, it was excellent play, wasn't it? Jesus just driving in from the wide area. It's a great run from Fabio Vieira, and then he just found his man.
Right, Saka actually was
Odegaard.
Saka and Odegaard at the far post.
It was Odegaard that's put it in, and he's got the goal there. But it was excellent movement. Fabio Vieira, as soon as he's come on, he'd done it 3-4 times in the first half. With his bodies in, he had awareness, had a little look as well, and just clips it over Jose Sa. Saka was there, but I think Odegaard got the touch, just steered it goalwards. You know what? It's an excellently worked goal. Jesus started it. The movement of Fabio Vieira, excellent.
Well, they were queuing up to turn it into the net, but it was Martin Odegaard who scored the 5th against Nottingham Forest a couple of weeks ago. That was his first since August. 5 now this season, all of them in the Premier League. And that's a really important breakthrough for Arsenal. Full marks to Vieira for making it happen. Arsenal have got a bit of a problem with Gabriel down as Martinelli breaks into the box and tries to set up another chance. It's come out as far as Odegaard. Thought about a long-range strike with his left foot, instead played it square to Zinchenko. Good news on Gabriel Magalhaes, he's back on his feet, having caught one inside his own half. Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Arsenal 1.
Yeah, there was a coming together, Adama Traore and Gabriel. He's landed very, very uncomfortably there as well, but like you say, when they were on the attack, he got himself up to speed and he seems to be moving. He's flying at the minute.
Arsenal have scored the first goal in 13 of their last 14 games, and that's a real advantage. Okay, they lost the lead to Brighton in the League Cup on Wednesday, but they've scored in every match this season, and they scored the first goal in 18 of the 21 games that they've played. So they are obviously good front runners, and here they come again with Ben White attacking down the right hand side and guilty of a foul. Free kick to Wolves down by the dead ball line. They've actually lost 2 of the 3 in which they didn't score first, but it's given Wolverhampton Wanderers an awful lot to do. They've achieved just 1 point from a losing position this season. That was at Brentford a fortnight ago, and they haven't won a game from behind for over a year. And they've got to change their approach now. We're just getting a television close-up of Julian Lopetegui in conversation with a couple of his staff in the director's box, because they can't carry on like this.
Well, Clive, I think the game plan is to stay in the game probably till about the 70-75 minutes, and then throw everything at it and try and get something out of it. I don't think it changes. I don't think the game plan changes. They just cannot concede again. 70-75 minutes onwards, then they start taking necessary risks to try and get that goal, but it's so vital that they do not concede again.
Martin Odegaard's goal is the difference between the two teams. Wolves 0, Arsenal 1. Collins on the ball for Wolves. Semedo just hooks it rather aimlessly forward. Gabriel heads it forward, and the voices you can hear inside Molineux are London voices, those that have travelled up from North London in celebratory mode again. Wolves trying to find a response with Guedes. Infield to Moutinho, right in the half of the Arsenal half. Good ball on towards Semedo. Just couldn't quite gather it in his stride. Forced wide by Zinchenko. Played back to Collins. Semedo again. Neves midway through the Arsenal half of the field. Semedo with a cross which is charged down painfully by Gabriel Martinelli. It's one of those painful injuries which everybody laughs at, so I've no need to tell you exactly where that caught him.
I felt that myself. Wow. Yeah, I'm surprised that the physio team haven't come on already. You can see that Martinelli is really struggling. He wasn't far away from Semedo at all when he's whipped across in. It's an excellent ball, bravery. He's struggling here, Clive.
Well, the ball hit him straight in the trossachs, and it's a part of the geography of his body which is difficult to shake off. It's interesting actually that there has been no official medical attention. Instead, we've had a couple of teammates who tried to lift his legs in the air. I don't think that helps. And then a couple who sort of persuaded him to get to his feet. That doesn't help at all either. I'm not sure what does help in the circumstances, but Martinelli seems to have cleared his head and is going to soldier on. It helps maybe when you know that your team are leading by a goal to nil. and have an opportunity to go 5 points clear at the top of the Premier League. Moutinho with a forward ball, and Traore trying to get in behind Arsenal. Cross comes Gabriel with a sliding challenge, and it was a little high, and he's brought him down. It's going to be a yellow card for Gabriel. It's just outside the penalty area, so that's where the punishment will end. Sliding challenge, boot raised, Traore. He might feel as if he got a bit of the ball, actually.
Yeah, I don't see much in it.
No, maybe not.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at the monitor. It's a great ball from Moutinho, isn't it? And I don't understand. There's so much room for error all the time that ball is on. Adama Traore, like you say, as soon as Wolves are in good possession all across that middle three, he's on the bike. He's always looking to run in behind. So I think it should be a blind thing. They know that he's going to be making that movement, that run. Great ball from Moutinho there, and like you say, now in a very healthy position, dead ball situation.
Yeah, free kick's literally one pace outside the penalty area on the left-hand side. Gabriel slid in with great velocity there. It was reckless. It qualified for a yellow card. If I say he got the ball, he was so late, it might just have clipped his hip as he slid past Traore, but Traore was already tumbling to the ground after that had happened. Now, can Wolverhampton Wanderers exact proper retribution here? Left and a right footer standing over the ball. It's going to be hit by Guedes in towards the near post. Very well gathered by Aaron Ramsdale. He had a couple of Wolves bodies running across him, and it was hit with power by Guedes. The angle was all against him, and Ramsdale had to catch that. He couldn't afford to do anything else.
It's excellent goalkeeping though, isn't it? No, very safe hands.
Vieira with a cross into the Wolves penalty area, and that's turned away by Totti as Arsenal tried to counter-attack, and there might just be one or two counter-attacking opportunities now for Arsenal, because Wolves' attitude has got to change a little as a result of Ødegaard's goal. Thomas Partey's on the ball, 20 metres outside the penalty area. He's found Ødegaard. Out to Saka, just outside the penalty area, onto his left foot. Played back to Ben White. Cross in again towards the head of Vieira. Flicked on. Martinelli's volleyed it across the face of goal. There's a headed chance for Ødegaard. Gabriel Jesus still with an opportunity, but Wolves have managed to scramble it away. And Bueno can dribble it out towards the corner flag and hook it down the field towards Guedes. Tidied up though by William Saliba. He goes all the way back to his goalkeeper. Arsenal were almost in there. They had 2 or 3 little glimpses of the Wolves goal during that attack, and those attacks are carrying ever more venom now. Gabriel Jesus on the ball, played back to Ødegaard, just exchanging passes, just trying to manage the game. It'll be interesting to see to what extent Arsenal now not so much take their foot off the gas, but maybe their attacking intent can change if they can keep it at 1-0.
Well, I think what you alluded to in the first half, I think now they're just patient with it. They'll play across the back four, try and invite, set those little traps for Wolves to come out and get the ball. Like, they don't have to go and score again to put the points on the board, so it's very difficult. Wolves have to kind of step up, try and close those gaps, and at the minute it's just very, very comfortable for Arsenal.
One was enough for Arsenal at Stamford Bridge last weekend. It was enough for Arsenal at Leeds. 1-0 to the Arsenal has a familiar ring to it, and you sense that this team now has got a growing maturity that enables them to defend that kind of narrow lead. They've been certainly deserving of their goal here, because they have dominated the match really from the outset, but Ødegaard managed to fasten on to Vieira's cutback, and Wolverhampton Wanderers are now preparing their first change here. Steve Davis has got to respond, and it's Daniel Podence who's stripping off and is preparing to come on. They have the ball on the edge of their own penalty area with Nathan Collins striding forward and finding Adama Traore, who's allowed to turn and run at Arsenal midway through the visitors' half of the field. Feeds it square again to Collins, out to Semedo on the right hand side, 10 metres outside the penalty area, comes back to Neves. Now it's square to Totti joining in, and he goes out to the left hand side, and Bueno just outside the penalty area. Guedes takes over and finds a cross, and it's a good one, and Traore's up there, and if anything he might just have glanced it away from Semedo jumping behind him. Arsenal can't counter-attack. Collins has it back for Wolves. Better spell this for the home team. Boubacar Traore, square to Guedes, up to the edge of the penalty area. Moutinho with a hook ball forward. Guedes with a header down, maybe just over elaborated a little bit because there's an opportunity for him to go on. Ben White early forward, and Gabriel Jesus can counter. He's on his own, edge of the penalty area, 2 Wolves defenders with him. Jesus looking to go it alone, is fed it in towards Ødegaard, and a fantastic recovery. Run back there by Totti Gomez prevents it from reaching the Arsenal captain at the expense of a corner. Exhilarating period of play.
Yeah, end to end, a fantastic ball from Ben White, releasing Gabriel Jesus down this left hand side. And again, I'm sitting thinking he's opened the goal up again on his right. It's Ødegaard that it's a way to pass, and it's a great timely challenge from Totti Gomez there. But like you say, it's end to end at the minute.
Corner kick to Arsenal on the right hand side. 1-0 Arsenal lead. Podence is imminent for Wolves, but they're not going to make the change while they're defending this corner from the Arsenal right. It'll be the left foot of Saka to guide it in. Saliba's right next to Jose Sarr on the goal line. Saka guides it in towards the near post. Little glance on and then away. Hit first time in the volley by Zinchenko. Away by Totti again. Ødegaard trying to keep the move alive, but this time Totti can allow it to roll through to Jose Sarr in the Wolves goal. Trying to play though out of trouble. Moutinho almost played his way into trouble, but he's ridden a challenge and played it out to the left hand side. And now Bueno over the halfway line and out to Guedes. Midway through the Arsenal half, just in from the touchline. Moutinho now on the ball. Collins over the halfway line. Wolves trying to find a response to Martin Ødegaard's 5th goal of the season. Neves to Collins. Looking forward now. Semedo. He has to come back to Neves. Under pressure from Jesus, goes back to Kilman on the halfway line. Moutinho takes over. Clips another ball forward towards Collins on a forward run. He finds Traore, edge of the penalty area. Adama Traore dancing into space, down by the touchline. His cross is a good one to the far post, but it's well held by Ramsdale.
Yeah, better play again. Using the ball a lot. Being a little bit more aggressive with it as well. Adama Traore, I think he took it too close to the line. He had to get everything under it, and good feet from Ramsdale made it a comfortable catch there, but it was hung to the back post area.
Martinelli just keeping the ball in on the near touchline with a back pass to Aaron Ramsdale. Interesting to see exactly who Gareth Southgate's number 1 goalkeeper is next week. Pickford, Pope and Ramsdale have all played 2 of the last 6 internationals over the last 6 months. Ramsdale's were both here, funnily enough, against Italy and Hungary. One of those just played in front of 2,000 school children. Podence for Moutinho is the first change, and then Dexter Lembikisa, 19-year-old right back who made his debut in the closing stages on Wednesday, has come on for Nelson Semedo. He was only 19 last weekend. He's qualified to play international football for Jamaica through his mum. He's been with Wolves since he was 13 years of age, but a new name to me, Dexter Lembikisa, who came on just last Wednesday night for his first taste of senior football and is now getting his first taste of Premier League football. What a night for him.
Yeah, excellent. It's what you want to see. I think there's so much put into the academy and the philosophy, these young players coming through, and it's nice to see them getting the opportunity.
1 or 2 on the bench this evening, names that you might not be familiar with. Joe Hodge and Nathan Fraser, Jem Campbell. Conor Rona's a little older. First chance now for Lembikisa to come forward into the Arsenal half of the field. Feeds Boubacar Traore. Square to Podence, getting involved immediately. Lofted in towards Traore, and the header back by Gabriel to his goalkeeper. Then Traore crashed into Ramsdale. The ball was there. I think Ramsdale had it, and Traore has been shaken up by this coming together. Ramsdale is lying on his back. Traore is particularly concerned. It was accidental, but he was a bit late.
Yeah, but you can see by the player's reaction that it is serious, isn't it? I think great little ball over the top. It was helped on by Gabriel, and it was there to be won. I don't think there's any intent. Traore's watching the ball all the way. Ramsdale, bravery coming out, making himself big. There is a coming together there.
Well, I mean, I'm only mentioning his association with the England World Cup squad just a few minutes ago, and here he is now, the youngest of Gareth Southgate's 3 goalkeepers by 4 years. There's plenty of time for him going forward, but one hopes that there's enough time for him to recover from whatever has happened to him here, and he's still laid out on his back. The 2 members of the Arsenal medical team crouched over him, speaking to Aaron Ramsdale. It's maybe rather telling that we're not getting too many television close-ups of him. Well, now he's sitting up a little bit, and he looks shaken, but he's climbed to his feet. Certainly in 2022 the protocols require a full examination of him to make sure that he isn't concussed in any way, because Traore crashed into him there. I think it might have been his knee which made contact with Ramsdale's head. Ramsdale wants to carry on, but there'll be some concern. I can think that people like Chris Sutton right now will be thinking this shouldn't be happening.
No, it was like you say, it was the coming together. I think both of Traore's knees went into the chest and maybe the neck of Ramsdale, and it's at full force as well, Clive. It takes a lot out of you, that.
I say that because Chris has been a real campaigner for more attention to head injuries. His father Mike suffered horribly as a result of them, and well, the modern footballer, just like the old footballer, mans up and wants to get on with it, but sometimes they can be too brave for their own good. But Ramsdale looks as if he's okay, I must admit, and he is continuing. And Arsenal continue to lead here by a 1-0. We've got 20 minutes left on the watch. There will be some time to add to that, but Ødegaard's goal is the difference. He's on the ball, the Arsenal skipper, midway inside his own half, lays it off to Thomas Partey. It was very brave goalkeeping and very good goalkeeping by Ramsdale too. Zinchenko curling ball in towards Gabriel Jesus, and Jose Sarr deals with that at the other end.
But that's more like it, the ball from distance. I think it was a Zinchenko there, but again, Sarr has to come out. If he doesn't come out, then there's going to be problems. But Wolves, you can see already, they're taking a little bit more of a risk, trying to ask a few more questions.
Traore just bundling Gabriel to the floor as they both looked up at a high clearance forward, and an offence that was seen by the referee and penalised, much to the disgust of Bosta Molineux.
I know you're looking at the monitor there as well, and you can see Gabriel just looking at Adama Traore. As soon as he feels anything, he's going.
It was a push. Gabriel's on the ball. Arsenal won't mind the boos if they can preserve their lead. They haven't been top at Christmas since the likes of Emmanuel Adebayor, and there's a free kick gone for Wolverhampton Wanderers' favour on this occasion, which has been greeted with ironic cheers inside this stadium. Forward come Wolves from the free kick, played by Collins. Tried to clip it into the path of Lembikisa trying to get forward, but Arsenal have dealt with the problem, and Martinelli has squeezed a clever pass in to Ødegaard. Now on to Saka, who's got an overlapping run from Ben White, and the counter-attack is on here for Arsenal, but Saka has just dawdled on the ball a little bit and it's lost some of its momentum. Ødegaard on to Saka again. Wolves have managed to regroup, but Saka has lost one challenger and played it wide to White, and now Arsenal do settle it down, and Ødegaard will come back to Gabriel. Zinchenko looks up 50 metres outside the penalty area, swept all the way back to Saliba this time. Arsenal just settle in possession. They're happy to keep the ball.
I think that's a sign of experience as well. At the minute they're not forcing anything. They know they're 1-0 up, keeping possession of the ball. Gabriel, Saliba, they're not just forcing that ball forward. They don't have to score a second goal, Clive. And I think that experience of this young squad, time and time again, you've already alluded to it, the 1-0 wins, just as important.
They have the ball with Zinchenko, 10 metres outside the penalty area. He does go for the cross this time. It cannons off the head of Collins. Header away is by Neves. Boubacar Traoré trying to dribble his way out of trouble onto Adama Traoré, but he's dispossessed by Thomas Partey. Gabriel with a good ball forward. Zinchenko out to Martinelli. Left-hand touchline. Confronted by the young substitute Lembakisa. Cuts inside and finds Zinchenko. Back to Martinelli on the touchline. Again, possession is everything for Arsenal. Played back to Gabriel, and he just guides it square across the field to White in positions where Arsenal are fairly comfortable on the ball, where it's not being contested by Wolves. Back to the halfway line. Gabriel Jesus to Gabriel Magalhaes. He puts the foot on the ball and feeds it square to Thomas Partey. Game management it's all about now. High towards Martinelli. His first touch isn't the best. Then Bakisa manages to dispossess him. Martinelli has won it back. Dangerous position. Edge of the penalty area. Clever little back heel. Zinchenko now inside the penalty area. Driven across the face of goal. Hit by Martinelli. Off the line by Sarr. Hit by Ødegaard and in. And Arsenal 2 up. And Martin Ødegaard has scored again. It's another joyous night for Mikel Arteta and the Gunners. On course for another victory at Molineux. On course to go 5 points clear at the top of the Premier League and lead the Premier League at Christmas.
Well, it's an excellent goal, isn't it? Well, then we can see there, just overplayed. Martinelli takes the ball off him, but great little bit of skill. Look at Zinchenko here. Drives across, gets his head up, picks someone out. You know, I think Martinelli arrived it again, asked that question. Sarr just gets his foot to it, but Ødegaard, composure, takes the touch, knows where the goal is, puts the laces through it in the back of the net. It's an excellent goal.
It's easy to forget he's not 24 until next month. He's the Arsenal captain. And he's not a captain in the Adams, Vieira, Rice mode, not yet anyway. But he's been captain of Norway for 20 months now. And his whole career has always been ahead of schedule. He was a prodigy, Martin Ødegaard. Manchester City, I say Real Madrid signed him at the age of 16. I think he played international football at 15. It's ridiculous. He's always been way ahead of the game, and it's almost taken time for him to find a home and find his place. And he's certainly found his place in this club and in this dressing room, and he's found the net twice tonight. And Arsenal are 2 up.
Well, he's loving his football. You know, plays with a smile on his face. He's captain, so you know that he leads by example. Fantastic character here around the place as well. Good energy around him, but 2 excellent goals tonight.
Podence is on the ball for Wolves. Clever ball into Guedes inside the penalty area, but he drives it from the angle well wide of Aaron Ramsdale's right hand post. And the difference between these two teams, bottom and top, at the start of the game is going to remain. Arsenal, with the best away record in the Premier League, are going clear at the top, and Wolverhampton Wanderers, heading for a 7th defeat in 9 Premier League games, are going to be bottom of the league at Christmas.
Yeah, you look at the defensive record, you know, conceded at least 3 out of the last in 3 of the last 4 games. You know, you just have to make sure that they have to be switched on. You know, the new managers in the stands, the players will be watching everything, body language, reaction.
2007 was the last time that Arsenal fans woke up to their Christmas presents with their team top of the league. They led into February that season and then ran into trouble. Eduardo suffered that awful injury at Birmingham. Here's Guedes trying to dribble his way through on the edge of the penalty area, but Gabriel managed to dispossess him, and in the end they finished 3rd to Manchester United that season. Saka bursting in field is robbed by Ruben Neves. Saka taking some time to climb to his feet, but I think he's okay. Very much on World Cup watch as well as Premier League leadership watch tonight. Wolves in possession with Boubacar Traoré, but 2 down. We're going to see their record signing Matheus Nunes in just a moment. Adama Traoré trying to stab it inside to Boubacar Traoré, but he's dispossessed by Zinchenko, and here's a counter-attack, and Vieira's on the ball, and he's got Ødegaard in support of him. and he's got options here, Martin Ødegaard, edge of the penalty area, just tried to lay it off to Saka. He's back on the ball, Ødegaard, now Partey 5 metres outside the penalty area. Martinelli on the corner of the box, coaxed in with his right foot, headed away by Totti Gomez, hit on the volley by Ben White and hit wide, not with any great confidence by Ben White. Here comes the change for Wolves, and Mateus Nunes is going to come on, and off will go Totti Gomez. So change of shape here now, Chris.
Yeah, like you say, they've got to go at it 2-0. It doesn't matter now, they've just got to go and try and get it back in the game. You know, I think the change, Mateus Nunes coming on, I think it should have been done 10 minutes into the second half. I think with Bubacar Traore, when he's made that challenge, there's a possible yellow card. Stuart Artwell never given it, but I think that was the time and the opportunity to make that change. But Nunes again, big money signing, haven't really seen the best of him.
Wolves nil, Arsenal 2. Latest odds are available from Betfair, the official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage. At the moment, if you fancy it, Wolves are 500 to 1. Arsenal are 200 to 1 on. The draws 50 to 1, and none of that really appeals to you. How about Bukayo Saka 9 to 1 to score in this game? Those odds are from Betfair. You must be 18 or over, and do pay a visit to begambleaware.org. There's plenty of help and advice on how to enjoy and manage your gambling. Wolves are in trouble here. They've got a little bit of time now. I think by my reckoning only 5 of their first team squad are off to the World Cup finals, so Julian Lopetegui will have time with the rest of them. He'll come back after the World Cup finals actually to quite an inviting home tie against Gillingham, who are not going at all well this season in the last 16 of the Carabao Cup. But it's the Premier League which is the bread and butter for all of these clubs, and Wolves are going to be bottom of that Premier League as Lopetegui takes over. They have won a corner kick here on the right hand side, on that Gonzalo Guedes will take. 2 hands raised, centre backs are forward, but it's glanced away by Gabriel Jesus defending his near post, played back into the edge of the penalty area, and Jesus is there again, and it's early forward by Vieira, but he couldn't get Martinelli on his way. What you'd have to say in Wolves and Lopetegui's favour is that their main strikers are all out. Diego Costa is completing a suspension tonight. Pedro Neto and Raul Jimenez are both injured, as indeed is Sasa Kalajdzic, who the summer signing. Traore trying to provide some menace inside the Arsenal penalty area, back towards Bubacar Traore, but he can't repeat what he did here on Wednesday night, and his guided shot goes wide of the mark. Wolves 0, Arsenal 2.
Well, straight after the break as well, Clive, Lopetegui's going to have Neto back. You know, Jimenez, you know, I think he's with the groin. I think he's going to be close or thereabouts, and obviously
he's going to play the World Cup final. He's in the Mexico squad.
So he's going to be available selection. There've been massive misses. You know, Pedro Neto, outstanding talent, and obviously you've got Diego Costa as well, who they experience that physicality. So it is going to be very much a different Wolves selection, a lot stronger. Those 3 players make this team better.
Wolves 0, Arsenal 2 on Talksport with Car Finance 24/7. Search Car Finance 24/7 today. Talksport's exclusive coverage of the autumn rugby internationals continues tomorrow with Scotland versus New Zealand from 1 o'clock, and there's live football on Talksport 2 tomorrow afternoon. Live commentary of a cracking championship derby between Burnley and Blackburn Rovers at noon tomorrow on Talksport 2. Edge of the penalty area, attempted effort at goal by Bueno was charged down. Mateus plays it back to Neves, forward by Bubacar Traore, gets a return pass from Adama Traore. Now Guedes trying to make progress down the edge of the penalty area, gets a cross in, but it's comfortably dealt with by Gabriel, and he just thumps it out of play. And I have to start to ask you the big questions now, Chris. Can Arsenal win the title? Could Wolves go down?
Yeah, of course. You know, I think Wolves, they have flirted with it. So it's obviously a possibility. Arsenal, you can see with the the age of the squad. I think it learned a lot from the season that these young players had. They've added quality to it.
Adama Traore has found a way past Zinchenko into the penalty area, driven across the face of goal. He hit it at a fair lick, and it had too much on it really for anybody to get on the end of it, but there's a little bit more danger. Here's Gabriel Jesus breaking, and Arsenal have got options here if they want to go for it. Saka now down the right hand side has got support, or he could just decide against that. He's played it into Gabriel Jesus, and he has won a corner on the right hand side. I mean, it's a big ask. Manchester City are what they are, despite what we've seen today. And you know, Arsenal weren't in the top 4 last season. It's a big leap.
Yeah, but they've invested well. It's the players that they've brought in. I think that they've learned a lot. You've got to remember, Arsenal just fell away towards the end of last season. Those young players, again, I think they've learned the game management side of it. You've already said about the 1-0 victories, because that's important. That says a lot about the kind of the character and the professionalism of the football team. But they've got quality, they've got young players, they've got that energy, there's no fear there. Look at all the stats.
Corner taken by Arsenal from the right hand side by Saka, but nothing that Gabriel can do about it. Wolves trying to get Traore on the break, and that rapid speed gets him there ahead of Saliba. Edge of the penalty area, Adama Traore checking, finds a cross to the far post. Podence is there. Good leap though by Ødegaard, and Podence with an overhead kick which just bounces wide. It was a brilliant piece of improvisation by Daniel Podence, chasing the ball out of the penalty area with his back to goal. He tried the bicycle kick and it bounced just wide of Ramsdale's post.
Well, I've got to say, Adama Traore, the ball was excellent. I think Podence keeps it alive. He just flicks it up for himself, tries the bicycle kicks. Ramsdale was beaten there, but like you say, just right of the right hand post there. Excellent attempt.
Reece Nelson and Mohamed El Neni are about to come on for Arsenal. They are out of the Carabao Cup, so their next game is on Boxing Day at the Emirates against West Ham United. Arsenal fans will wave off 9 or 10 of their number to the World Cup finals and hope that they all come back in one piece. Ben White is on the ball for them. High ball out to the left hand side where Martinelli is waiting, but Lembekisi manages to get his head to the ball. Boubacar Traore coming forward up to the halfway line. Here's a burst forward by Mateus to the edge of the penalty area, trying to get Podence in, but the final slip pass is slightly overhead, and Aaron Ramsdale has the ball again. They haven't really sustained a title challenge into the new year since 2017, when they were joint top with Chelsea approaching the Christmas of 2016, and it got away from them in the new year. Similar story in season 13-14. Remember, they lost in Arsene Wenger's 1000th game in charge. They were beaten 6-0 by Chelsea when they were knocking on the door. Mikel Arteta played that day. They've not finished in the top 4 since 2016, when they were a distant second to Leicester City. But this is a different Arsenal, a different season and a different challenge. Martinelli just inside the walls, half of the field. Partey caught in possession by Boubacar Traore. Podence plays it to Guedes, 10 metres outside the penalty area. Ødegaard might again in the challenge. Partey's lost it again, but White has cleared it, and he's done more than clear it. He's played a delicious pass forward, and Bukayo Saka has seized upon the ball, running at Bueno, edge of the penalty area, trying to feed it in to Gabriel Jesus, but Kilman is first to it and quick about his work and brings the ball away. He's good on the ball, Max Kilman, maybe not quite as good as he thought he was, because he's overrun it there and lost it on the halfway line. Nelson Elneny still waiting to come on. Ball hasn't been out of play for 3 or 4 minutes, but Arsenal have it, and the Olays will tell you that they're just passing it about effortlessly and looking the part, looking every bit league leaders at the moment.
Yeah, they are. You know, I think some of the really impressed with Ben White. You know, some of the passing.
Zinchenko's lost it here to Podence. Adama Traore, edge of the penalty area. Daniel Podence again drives it. And I think Ramsdale just touched that over the crossbar before delivering an earful to Alex Zinchenko for losing the ball.
Yeah, and that's what you want from a goalkeeper. You know, he doesn't want any shots coming at him at all there. I think good work from Adama Traore and Daniel Prudence. Gabriel, to be fair, he's trying to block it. He's opened up his chest. He's put the arms behind his back. But I think Ramsdale wants him to go and close that space to Prudence there.
Corner kick to Wolves, who have not scored from a Premier League set piece all season. Daniel Prudence takes it in towards the near post. It's a shocker. Away by Gabriel Jesus. Volleyed first time by Mateus. Claims for handball as Martinelli charged it down. Wolves have got the ball with Podence on the touchline. Tried to slip it into Boubacar Traore. It was just deflected behind. It will be another corner. No goal from a set piece and no goal in the last 30 minutes of a Premier League match this season for Wolverhampton Wanderers. They've only scored 8 in total. They really have been impotent in front of goal, and that is reflected in their league position. They failed to score in half of the Premier League games they played this season. Adama Traore with a cross towards the far post. Good flick header away by Thomas Partey, volleyed by Ruben Neves, who's certainly capable of scoring from 22 metres, but struck that one over the crossbar. Here come the Arsenal changes at last. Cedric Suarez has now joined the party on the touchline. Nelson, Elneny and Cedric will come on. And I think Bukayo Saka is being ushered towards the touchline, so that looks like he's okay for the flight to Qatar. Saka is definitely coming off to be replaced by Nelson. Who else are we going to see the back of here? Fabio Vieira is actually coming off, as indeed is Alex Zinchenko. So Elneny, Cedric come on, along with Reece Nelson.
He's done himself no harm at all. Fabio Vieira, I think he's been absolutely excellent, professional when he's come on, and showed great energy and great quality. Very good technical player, but his movement is second to none.
I've been told that the Arsenal players who are not going to the finals will get about 10 days off with their families, and then there's going to be a warm weather camp in Dubai for the Arsenal players. They've fixed up friendlies against Milan and Lyon, and any players who do exit the World Cup finals before they want to will join up with the squad in Dubai, and they'll prepare for that Boxing Day game there. Ødegaard is on the ball, the man of the night, on by Thomas Partey, turned away by Lembikisa. A chance for Guedes to feed Adama Traore, but combination of Gabriel and Cedric, who's playing at left back, clear the danger. Arsenal win a free kick. I mean, I don't know whether, I mean, the World Cup is what it is. We've never had a World Cup finals at this time of the year. I mean, will Mikel Arteta see it as a good time for a timeout and a break and a chance just to take stock of everything, or would he wish it wasn't happening?
No,
just want to carry on?
He'll wish it wasn't happening, Clive. You know, I think with the momentum, the results that they're picking up, they just look unstoppable and unplayable at the minute. You know, I think they're delivering on every front, and as a manager, you know, your players are going away. It's not in your control. You know, that kind of summer camp, the winter camp in Dubai. I think that'll be massive. But he just wants the games to come thick and fast at this moment.
I mean, he's with Emil Smith Rowe at the moment. I think Takahiro Tomiyasu has been nursing a muscle injury for the last couple of weeks, although he's expected to join up with the Japanese squad. So injury problems are few and far between. He made a point of saying his squad was short, in his words, after the midweek Carabao Cup defeat. There's an expectancy that Arsenal will go again in January, but whether the emphasis will be on ready-made, oven-ready first choice players, or whether he just wants to try and top up on the cover around the squad, remains to be seen. Maybe a little bit of cover for Thomas Partey?
Yeah, I think it'll be the latter. You know, I don't think they're going to spend big money on already made players. I think it's about that potential, young players with that quality, energy, enthusiasm that he has mastered.
2-0 Arsenal lead. We're in the dying moments here of stoppage time. Ruben Neves has often been linked with Arsenal, but he has quite a close bond with Julian Lopetegui, and Wolverhampton Wanderers certainly won't want to lose their captain in these circumstances. But they are rock bottom following Nottingham Forest's victory today. Wolves are 2 points adrift of Southampton, 3 of Forest, 4 of Everton and West Ham. And at the other end, Arsenal are going 5 points clear of Manchester City, just 4 better goal difference in City's case. But that's the detail. The headline is that Arsenal win again. Arsenal stay top of the league. Arsenal will be top of the league on Christmas Day. And it is clear from the way they've managed a different kind of game tonight, a difficult game in a number of aspects, because Wolverhampton Wanderers showed precious little ambition from the outset and just looked to frustrate Arsenal. But okay, it's easy now with the benefit of hindsight with those 2 Martin Ødegaard goals which have given Arsenal a victory. But they stayed patient, they stayed composed, even though they didn't create a great deal in the first half. They carried on probing, trying to ensure first and foremost they didn't get caught by a counter-attack. And Wolverhampton Wanderers did have a couple of glimpses of goal on the break, but Arsenal managed the match again. Arsenal won the match again. Their skipper Martin Ødegaard has scored the 2 goals, and Arsenal are on top of the tree at Christmas.